Alright guys, so the other day I was having a quick look at Asphalt Lanes Unite latest event, the Black Friday Bars of Speed, and I realized that I had all the cars maxed out except in the latest ones, and that there wasn't too much to be done there, so I decided to have a look into the game that brought me where I am right now, Asphalt 8 Airborne, the game where my story within this saga began, and I thought that having a look around would feel nice in order to remember the good old days, and so did I. But, well, what I discovered wasn't necessarily something better than what I left behind, so let's get into it. Okay, so you see guys, I mostly left Asphalt 8 because it was starting to feel quite a bit stagnant, the same in a nutshell, after so many years without any new tracks nor significant special events, and I came up to that point where I was quite bored, hence why I decided to give a try to upload more often Asphalt 9 Legends at the time, which was a game I was playing since almost the beginning, and the rest is history. The problem with Asphalt 8 was that despite that at its peak back in 2016, it was easily a better game than Asphalt 9 Legends could ever dream to be. Some updates starting for 2018 will change the game without keeping in mind the interest of the community, and thus many players started leaving the game. If I had to pinpoint a moment that would be labeled as the beginning of the end, that one would easily be the fast lane update and the subsequent introduction of fusion coins many years ago, by the way, which despite are quite easy to obtain these days, up to the point where you can upgrade cars quite fast by playing on a daily basis these days. This new fusion coins currency basically was the last droplet that finally changed the game in a way that it will never be the same. And well, you see, I can speak from experience because I witnessed all what I have just mentioned, and not gonna lie, I wasn't pessimistic at the time and I thought that gameloft just wouldn't let such a good game to die, and well, they didn't kill it then, but these days, Asphalt 8 is a shadow of what it used to be, and believe me, that's a lot coming from me because a couple years ago I was uploading a video about this game, every single new car that appeared, but now I could definitely not see myself doing it because it has come to a point where each new car is just a copy of an already existing one. There was a time in Asphalt 8 when cars were differentiated, a time where you could tune cars to make them perform better against cars with similar rank, and that was quite fun, not gonna lie, just like unlocking cars suffering on the championship and research and development events, you know? Let's get real guys, you can unlock a new car these days in Asphalt 8 by spending 15 bucks or whatever the season pass costs, but I don't really think that unlocking cars like this is not even remotely as fun as rewarding as claiming them after completing an entire research and development event and set aside a championship. No, it's just not fun, it never was, and I made videos about new cars because of their potential multiplayer performance, but these days, as most of you guys can imagine, the multiplayer system is no longer what it used to be. It's not necessarily a change for worse because you can get rewards and push more easily, but once you reach Elite League there is nothing else to look for. In the past, even if you didn't reach Elite, you could still hand the rewards available in the milestones, and I know what I'm talking about might not even feel familiar to some of you guys watching this, but believe me, compared to what we have today on this game, it was just glorious. Do you know how this game feels like today? I will be honest guys. It feels like a final push guys, but not in the good meaning of the word. It feels like the final push of a game that it's here like a billboard, just to display ads in the hopes that you will purchase some of the products, in this case, offers available by real money. Up to the point where a new currency was introduced almost a year ago, I would say, with the purpose of disconnecting you with the reality, because if instead of your real money you use vouchers, which is this new currency, you will feel bad, despite the reality is that you can only get vouchers by spending real money. This is by purchasing them in the shop. And that's really it. Asphalt 8 purpose is to bring in as much money as possible without adding any major update like a track or a game mode, because that will be so expensive and it will ruin the balance between earnings and losses. Maximum profit with the least money invested, just like a billboard, or even better than one, I would say. And as someone who has so many memories from this game, it feels extremely sad, just as if the game died a long time ago, but I was too blind to see it. Maybe I should have realized when I saw some of the best guys I have got the chance to meet within this game leave, I don't know anymore. On average, there are around 30,000 people playing the weekly cup every week, so if I had to bet, I would say that Asphalt 8 Airborne has somewhere in the area of the 50 to 60,000 monthly players as per November 2024, which is not a catastrophic amount, yet it's true that the days where 250,000 players tried multiplayer every week are long gone. And well, if you have a look at the game these days, it will come at no surprise to you. Just in case anyone wondered, right before completely leaving this game, this is like 8 months ago, I just said fuck it and I spent all my ultimate upgrades, I had like 20 or so, in order to have all the cars I own within this game completely maxed out, and so did I. That's why right now I have almost 380 cars, but here comes the best part. I used to have 382 cars back when I left the game, so what happened? This is quite interesting, so pay close attention right now. Asphalt 8 has been losing cars recently because of licenses. Some cars which have been within this game for almost a decade were removed from every single user garage, of course in case you own them. So cars like the Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo, the DeLorean and many others just disappear from one day to the other, and despite Gameloft gave some compensation to those who own these cars, the truth is that they should have never released those cars in the first place just to remove them shortly after. But now it's too late. Licenses expire if you choose to not to pay them or if the owners don't allow you to keep them past a certain time, so you have to remove cars at some point. There is a bright side though. Now that most of these cars with particular licenses have been removed, I don't expect many more cars to disappear from no one, so that's a small comfort for those that still play this game. Still, it feels sad because I got my Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo as a gift from Gameloft for being the creator of the mod many months ago, so it held a special value to me, but now it's long gone from my garage. One way or another, I still felt like I needed to make this video because I can tell you guys that there aren't any major changes coming to this game anymore, being the last major feature the Gauntlet mode itself, and that's it. I already made a video explaining why new tracks wouldn't be a thing anymore, since there weren't no resources being directed towards this game development anymore, and same goes to anything major like the Gauntlet to ever happen again. That's the sad reality of a game that gave me so many memories through all the years I spent making content about it, and now unfortunately feels like it's on the last sprint of the race. And I will be honest guys, it was nice while it lasted, but at this point I would like to know your thoughts about this game and if you play it as well these days, so we can share thoughts within the comments section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you really soon as usual with much more Asphalt content. Goodbye guys.